Welcome back to the Restaurant Growth Show podcast. Today's guest is no stranger to the show. He brings over 30 years of experience in hospitality with top brands. And today is going to talk about the 5 keys to transform a restaurant management by talking to restaurant managers. And that's who we're talking to. We're talking to owners and operators here on the Restaurant Growth Show. Jason, welcome back to the show. I kind of feel weird about saying welcome back to the show because it's just like you're always here and we love you and you're here. So how's your day going? First of all, first and foremost, let me say happy 4th of July to you, my friend. What's going on? What are the festivities that are happening in your world today?
Oh man, already hit the pool early this morning, way before the little kids started dumping yellow water all in it. So got that out the way. And then
There's nothing like a
and-
4th of July golden shower.
no,
But
no, nothing like that.
I'm
Just
sorry,
keep your mouth
it's not
closed.
that kind of show. I apologize.
Just keep your mouth closed and don't open your eyes whenever you're under the water. It'd be some extra burn to it.
Don't even blow bubbles. Don't even do
And
that.
don't blow bubbles. No, keep your chin above the water. And then I actually just got finished throwing some hot dogs on the grill. Did you know that whenever you cook hot dogs, most people think that you put it on like the highest heat and that you like smack it on there till it's like blistering and like halfway
Got to
burnt.
get those grill
Did you
marks, right?
but yes, you should get the grill mark, but did you know that you should actually cook it semi-low and slow? Slow, yes, semi-low, and the flavor actually turns out better. Now, the next time you do hot dogs or sausages, do one on high heat, right? Do one at like a 375-ish type temperature and just cook it slow. Taste them both. You will be surprised at the difference in the quality.
Well, now I'm hungry for hot dogs and smokies and sausages. So thank you for that. This will be an expedited edition of the Restaurant Growth Show because then I've got to run out and get some dogs and get them on the grill.
That's it. That's it.
So thank you, sir. So today we're going to talk about the top 5 keys to transform restaurant managers. Now that could mean a lot of things. That could mean, personal development and all of these kind of things. Jason, can you start off by reminding us what the keys are, and then we'll dive into each one of the keys and we'll talk about each one of those. Okay, what are the 5 keys to transform a restaurant manager?
The 5 keys first come from my book, Every Leader Needs Followers. And the 5 keys are actually put together in a very specific order. And it just so happens to spell out the acronym model as well, MODEL. The first key is master your KPIs. Second key is owner like orientation, followed by number 3, delegate by creating mini GMs. And then the fourth one, engage with one-on-ones. And then the fifth one, leading with the right mindset, managing versus leading versus coaching. And it's put within that order in a certain way, not just because it's pretty cool to spell an acronym. That's what we restaurant people do. We have more acronyms that I don't know what. I think we need a book just for acronyms. It's like we can speak Geechee, a whole nother language, and people not even understand what we're saying from brand to brand because we have so many acronyms. Anyway, so that is the 5 keys.
It's true. Acronyms are out of control. There are a lot of things in this world that we need to really pay attention to and put under wraps. Acronyms could be one of them because it's not just in hospitality, it's in the business world. If you've got a business degree, if you worked in corporate for any amount of time, acronyms are running afoul. They're all over the place. And sometimes we can really, they're their own language, to be honest with
Mhm.
you. But what we're going to do is we're going to break down this acronym and we're going to spoon feed it to our listeners. Number one, there's an acronym within the acronym, Jason. Okay. You've got the
It's
top
true.
five. We got the 5 keys to transfer from restaurant managers, which is model. But now in the first one, there's a KPI, there's an acronym within in the acronym, and it's KPI. Can you break down? Can you please explain to me what a KPI is, number one, and then break down for us why a KPI is crucial for restaurant managers to succeed as leaders?
Bite-sized pieces. Okay, so KPI first, performance indicator. Key performance indicator is a measurement that tells you whether you are doing well or need to make more improvements, need to hone in on something, need to dive deeper into certain areas. Most KPIs or key performance indicators are typically connected to your business goals. Again, you said it best. It's not just the restaurant industry. And I would hate to work in tech. I bet in tech, there is so many more acronyms than I could even imagine. Anyway, though, so master your KPIs is first. Why? Because you're a business first. If you really boil it down, we are a business first, no matter what we do, unless we are a volunteer. And even at that point, we still need to at least make money in order to keep the nonprofit going. But we are a business first. So mastering your key performance indicators is one, good to keep your business going. Two, it's good because that's probably how you're graded on your own performance by your direct supervisor, by your owner, by your investors, is by those KPIs. So if you don't know what it is that you're being graded by, how can you perform better? This goes all the way into the manager, where there is two camps. One camp is owners that actually hold back information from their operators. They don't really understand or show the full P&L to the person that's in the building running the business, which to me just blows my mind. The other camp are operators and owners that actually share the P&Ls to the team to ensure that they understand what they're being held to. Hate to make it sound like it's some kind of prison camp, but it is what you're being held to, what you're being graded on, what you're being judged on. So you have to know going into your role what those key performance indicators are so that you can understand even hour to hour how you're performing. Of course, there's lots of great technology out there these days that can even tell us minute to minute and tell us within the next 90 minutes, within the next 2 to 3 hours, what you're probably going to do to help you make changes and be more nimble with running your business. But mastering your KPIs, not just because you're a business first, but also because it's how you're being graded as an individual. You have to understand what those are, what moves those levers, and how you can do better at doing them.
Very well said, my friend. And I think Peter F. Drucker said it best when it comes to KPIs. You can't manage what you don't measure, and it's applicable across all industries. But KPIs are indeed incredibly important.
I agree. I think it's applicable to life. And one of my favorite things, actually, speaking about acronyms, other than IPAs and APIs that were in tech, which I get confused sometimes. I always have to think. Is the concept of I'm also about things, and Gord knows about this. It's empowerment, integrity. And so when you talk about the owner-like orientation, it just excites me, and I would love to hear from you about the impact that this integration has into new hires, and into the restaurant's culture, and most importantly, the impact in the operations.
Owner-like orientation, absolutely. It's one of the things that people think is this black secret box that really well-run brands have, and no one knows what the code is to get in there to figure out that secret sauce. And what I mean by that, whenever people think about some of the best service standards when it comes to people and bringing them on board to all perform similarly. And some people think about Chick-fil-A. They really think, oh man, Chick-fil-A, they do it awesome. They have this special island where they grow people and they like fly them in, and then they distribute them to all the Chick-fil-A's. And then it's just like so wonderful. Or that they hire people from your town, they take them to the back office, and then they have this holy water. They dunk their heads in there until there's no more bubbles.
Is
And
this
then when they
wait?
pop up,
Is this like the island of misfit toys? I'm getting
yes,
visions. Okay, all
yes,
right, okay. Sorry,
yes.
I had
And
to make
then
the connection.
and then when their head comes up, they all start saying please and thank you, and they all know how to properly do their jobs. That's just not true.
It's not
When it comes,
magic. So you're
it's
saying it's
not,
not
no,
magic. Okay. Okay.
it is not magic. It's not some secret black box somewhere. A lot of the reasons why we need to focus on the owner-like orientation is, one, we have to stop bringing people in with the small picture of just a few things, and we have to understand how can we show who we are, even as a single store operator, who we are within our community, even before they come in. How do we let them know what the brand is, what we're for? Because the people that we interview, I'll take it back to just the interview. Out of the 100% of people that you interview, maybe 10 to 15% end up working for you. How do you transform that other 90 to 85% into regulars? Into like, man, I didn't get hired. That job was too much for me. We didn't see eye to eye, but I did not know that they do this, and this. And now they're walking away like, you know what? I may not be working there, but I have that much more respect for them. So when it comes down to owner-like orientation, yes, there is the piece of it's good to show your brand, show your culture, easier said than done, to where people understand who you are. But even when you're interviewing them and then you hire them and you're walking them through on day one versus just start out at the table, which ends up being their newest break table, and then onto some computer-based training, then onto one position. Why don't we take them out to the front curb and talk about how your business is viewed from people driving by, from people walking by, that no matter whether they choose to dine with us, service with us, use our products or not, how we look from this view is the most important. And we all, everyone that works for this business, helps to make sure that it looks the best. So as we get into the parking lot, we sweep the parking lot every single day. We scrub the sidewalks 3 times per week. We make sure we don't drop any trash. We clean the windows whenever we're walking into the dining room. This is what you should hear. This is what you should smell. This is what you should not hear. This is how the greet should be as you're being walked to the table. Let them understand all of those pieces, even on day one, because I know I would rather, and these listeners would too. I would rather pick up on the body language of someone that I'm orientating, that this is too much for them, shake their hand and say, thank you. I appreciate you. I see that this isn't for you, but I would love to see you back on Thirsty Thursdays. And then let them go on their way. And then that way it isn't 2 weeks in and now we have to re-interview, rehire, kick them off the schedule, find. I mean, it's just too much. But the owner-like orientation is giving them the big picture view of the business, and not just during orientation. This is even for the people that currently work for you now. We tend to think keeping information from them is protecting them. That it's like, well, if I give them too much, they may leave. It may be too much. No, they actually want to learn their own rocket science about business, because someday they're going to be a teacher, a astronaut, a nail tech, or a restaurant owner. And you should be arming them with the information of the big picture as much as you can.
I think that it always makes me think the classic, they don't need to know that. What? Of course they need to know that, get involved, experience it themselves, and that way they can come up with improvements. They can get excited about the impact that they can have.
Yeah, even whenever we think that we are doing that, and then we're like, well, I don't want to stress them out. But then when let's say it's a multi-unit brand, and they are asked to go work somewhere else, and then they go there, and then the other people ask them, oh, you don't know how to do this? Oh, you don't know that? Well, now they look bad. Now they can't move forward because you're holding everything back, because either A, you think it's too much for them, B, you may not know yourself, or C, which is the worst one, that you think that there's power in holding information yourself versus sharing it. So the owner-like orientation isn't just for day one. It isn't just for the interview process. The term orientation means the heading of the right direction, making sure that you're heading in the right direction. You don't only head in the right direction on day one. It is a constant orientation of what needs to be done for the day, for the week, to make sure that we're all heading in the same direction as a goal, as a business, and having the owner-like ownership of everything from the curb on in versus just one position just compounds that empowerment even more.
I love the three-dimensional approach with the hires and really understanding, look, 85% of the people you're interviewing, you're not going to hire, but then it's a sale. It's still a sales pitch, right? Like, we may not hire you today, but tell you what, this is what we're all about. This is what we're doing. This is the kind of food we're making. This is the kind of experience we want our patrons to have. And I hope to see you on Thirsty Thursday, right? I love that
Think about it.
approach.
We think that our people coming in to apply live 30 miles from us. No, they're 2 to 5 miles right around our
Mhm.
business. They are the same people that would be coming in for it doesn't matter whether it's retail, gas station, or restaurant. The people coming in to interview, we have to watch how we do what we do. If we have 20 people that we are interviewing, which would be lovely right now. But if there was 20 people and we only hire 2, do we just ghost the other 18? Or are we reaching out to them, giving them the whys, yada, 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 finding way to still make that connection to, as you said, how do you make the sale?
Jason E. Brooks playing 3D chess, ladies and gentlemen. Love it. Jason, speaking to number 3 in the 5 ways to transform restaurant managers, delegate by creating mini GMs. What are the benefits that you've observed by delegating responsibilities and creating mini GMs? I know you talked about a couple, but I'm sure there's more.
First, buying back your time. Second, building back your team. And third, getting back your insanity. Sorry, you already have the insanity. Getting back your sanity. Buying back your time. Whenever you look at how to really delegate, really delegate, how some people delegate these days is they find the task that they absolutely hate. And then they say, Susie, you are queen of line checks. I need you to take this off my plate. It takes up too much dang time. Just do this for me. But that's not the right way to delegate. First, well, you have to figure out what are all the tasks that a manager, operator, owner does. It doesn't matter what level. What are all the tasks for your business that you do every day, week, and month, and then write them all down? Because there is a system to delegating. It's not just, I'm just going to show this person how to do this and now you do it. No, there is a system. You need to first figure out what all do you actually do. Write it all down. List from A to double Z, like it's Excel. Now, say, what items can I only do? There's a caveat. It's not what items do I only do because only I know how to do them, because that can and will change. Not what items do I only do because I like to do them, but every single item that only you can do because of your access. Let's say only your password and your username only you can use, so you're the only one that can do that item. Those items are the only ones you can do. You now know these are the ones that stay on my list. Now, which ones can a different manager do? And I say different manager because managers and employees, it could be a shift leader, it could be an assistant manager, have different authority levels as well when it comes down to certain tech. So maybe it's what can only managers do because of their access? And then what can a key employee do? Now you have 3 levels. Only you can do, any manager can do, and a key employee can do. Once now you figured out what are the 3 levels of who can do it, now what's the priority? Priority meaning that if it doesn't get done, it's going to negatively affect the customer and the business, but it's important. The second level is it's still important. If you don't do it, it may not affect the customer immediately, but it can affect the business. And then third is it's still important. It won't immediately affect the customer. It won't immediately affect the business. And if you notice, all 3 are important. If they weren't important, they wouldn't be on your task list. So now you have a certain priority level of what needs to get done first. Then the next session of this is the time frame. Should it take 5 to 10 minutes? Does it take 3 to 4 hours? Because when you look at delegating something, you want to know which access items can I give to what kind of level of people within my business? What's the priority on it of when it needs to be done? How long does it need to take? And then is it done daily, every Tuesday and Thursday? Is it a truck order? Is it line checks? That's every 4 hours. And now you're matching up from this list of who the people on your team are. And I would first look at the people on my team first and what their strengths are versus looking at what don't I want to do. It's who are the 3, 4 people that are ready to take on things right now and what are their strengths? Because when you tie in a task with a person's current strength, you're more likely to see success. The last piece is the training. The training piece, when it comes to delegating, is the one that's the most overlooked. Why? Because most people think, oh man, I've done inventory with Billy 10 times already. Billy's watched me 10 times over the last 10 months of doing inventory. But there's a difference when you're training someone for them to take it over. Because whenever Billy saw you do it, Billy like, oh, there's Gordon doing his inventory. He may ask me for this. He doesn't know where to find it, the whys, all of the little tidbits. And although you may have mentioned it to him, there's a difference when you're listening because you know it's going to be yours, and when you're listening because you're just helping someone out. When you're helping someone out, you ain't really listening. You are just trying to get to the end of that task. So all of those pieces, yes, delegating is crucial. Yes, it is a system, but when you do it right, you will get your time back. Because when you look at those tasks that you're now taking off your list because you've trained them right, you can actually do the math of how much time you have back in your day and week. You're building back your team because now you're actually building people back to key number 2, owner-like orientation. Do you have people owning more pieces of getting things done? And 3, your sanity. Your sanity now gets to come back because you don't feel like, man, instead of coming in at 8 a.m., I'm going to come in at 6 a.m. And versus leaving at 8 p.m., I'm going to leave at 10 p.m. And although you stay for an extra 4 hours, you still only finish 80% of those tasks because you're only human. You get your sanity back because you're able to focus on the key things that need to be done by you in order to get back to key number 1 of mastering your KPIs.
If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go together.
True story.
I really like that you said that, Gord. I think nothing galvanizes a culture or a team than a common goal or a common enemy. So by sharing information, it's important because then those issues become owned by everything. It comes back to the owner-like orientation. Oh, I love it. Now, let me ask you this, though, because I bet that in terms of leadership, this it can be challenging to effectively engaging with team members. So how do management effectively engages with team members to foster better decision making?
I mean, even whenever we say, how do we better engage with team members, that can be tricky because we have a lot of managers that were never formally trained for their role. They came into their role because they were so good at what they did, but they weren't good at making sure others around them were good at what they did. They thought that since I'm so naturally good at doing this, I can naturally teach others to be as good as me. But being able to manage people in a high stress environment isn't something natural. It is learned. So even whenever we go back to how do we effectively engage with team members, it is tricky because some people don't know how to do that. They just think that I need to keep telling them or showing them how I would do it and tell them what I went through and give them more this and give them more fat and give them more that. To be honest, to effectively engage with your team members, you have to create a space for you to get to know them. And not just you have your manager meeting, you dump off all of the information of the week. You have your alley rally, your huddle, you dump off all of the information, which is important for the day. And then you are talking to them all day long. Hey, your sauce sucks. Thicken it up with the cornstarch or just whatever feedback. That's all us dumping on them. In order for us to effectively engage with our team members, it is the opposite of the term. It's actually creating space for them to speak more than we are speaking. That's when I get into the key of the one-on-ones, to engage with the one-on-ones. One-on-ones, in my opinion, everyone may think I'm crazy, should be done every single week without cause, without pause, without delay, without rescheduling, every single week. Now, it's not that you have a staff of 50 and you're doing 50 one-on-ones. You're doing one-on-ones with the people that report directly to you and only them. And then they're doing one-on-ones with the people that report directly to them. But as a leader, as a manager, you have to make sure you do weekly one-on-ones. And the one-on-ones isn't just time of sitting there staring at the wall or scrolling on your phone. I like to say, do a fruit basket, meaning take your apple, take your whatever, BlackBerry. I know if anyone has a BlackBerry right now, first of all, that is awesome. But take all your phones.
I love throwback technology. That's great.
It is Thursday too. It's Throwback Thursday. Take
That's
all
right.
your phones, put it in the basket, take it to the side, and your one-on-one is 30 minutes. And it's the same time every single week, the same day for that individual. And it's on your schedule and it's on their schedule. I can guarantee you the first 4 to 6 weeks, if you've never done a one-on-one, it's going to be awkward. They will not know what to talk about. They will think it's a test. They will think that there's some kind of microphone somewhere. You're trying to catch them saying something wrong until they open up. But in this 30-minute one-on-one, the first 10 minutes should be them to speak about anything. First 10 minutes, they can talk about their kids, their hobby, Marvel versus DC, latest hockey game. It doesn't matter. The next 10 minutes is for you to update them on any questions that they had from the prior one-on-one. And the last 10 minutes is them back to speaking to you about their professional goals or challenges within the workplace. Again, the first few times it's going to feel awkward, but you will see that they begin to bring more stuff to you. Why this ties into Delegate is because I brought up buy back your time, build back your team, get back your insanity. Half the time when you get those crazy phone calls at 12 at night, at 2 a.m., and it's like, Jose, we ran out of paper towels. What should I do? And you're like, what? You're calling me about paper towels at 2 a.m.? Half the time when our team is constantly reaching out to us, listen to this carefully, is because they don't believe that we understand their intention. And since we don't understand their intention, they have to call us or stop us or do something to second guess, to ask what may seem like crazy questions. When we build a space with one-on-ones for them to know, Gordon now knows me. Jose now knows me. I talk to him every single week about this. He knows I will take a medium risk for maximum return because he has created a space to get to know me and for me to bring my problems in, even with problems that they would typically bring you all day long, all week long, to where you are taking time away from what you could be doing. They will save it to the one-on-one and bring it up then. Again, buying back your time, building back your team, and teaching them how to think on their feet. And they now know that you know them and it's okay for them to make a decision versus have to reach out to you every single time. That is the definition of truly effectively engaging with your team.
I have to tell you, it is just making sense why you said even in the beginning that this is for a reason in this reason. And it's not just the acronym so that now it's mode and we're going to get to the L, but because it
we
makes
get
sense.
to the L of the mode.
Right now it's just mode.
Right now it's just mode. Yes,
We're in the mode.
almost,
We're in the transformation.
We are in the mode right now.
Exactly. The Jason Brooks mode. But you know, one of the things that I love about that sequence is that it makes a lot of sense, because one of the things that was coming to mind as you were explaining this part is that you know, the restaurant owner, the operator is always so busy, and that insanity, it just builds the fear. I don't have time. When am I gonna do it? What if I forget? Like, or I just don't have time to do that. And you just clearly explained that so good. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Mode.
Leading starts with L, and that brings us to the L of the model, acronym.
Modal.
No, that is not what we're talking about.
That was not what we're talking about.
No,
No.
you're completely off base. I've got a two-pronged question here. When it comes to leading, Jason, first of all, what's the difference between managing, leading, and coaching? And second of all, how does differentiating between those three influence a manager's effectiveness?
First, let's look at the definitions of model. Or sorry, of
It's all
managing,
Jose's
leading,
fault.
and
It's
coaching.
all
It's
Jose's fault.
yes, he put the mode L in my mind. So with managing, I like to define managing as the mindset that we are all in for 70 to 80% of our day. And there's nothing wrong with that. Some people say, oh, managing sucks. We need to change the term. Yeah, yeah. Managing is taking a group of people, keeping them in the guardrails to reach a certain point by a certain time within a certain budget. Why? Because we're a business first. Again, leading back to master your KPIs. Managing is the mindset of taking the business approach first to ensure that we are profitable. That is something that is a constant and very consistent. Now, if you're doing it all day long, that's an issue. But there's nothing with managers. It's just that managing gets a bad rap sometimes. Leading is still with a large group of people. But when you're leading, you're more so looking at the overarching aspect of the entire industry, challenges that maybe others cannot see, or even when a group of people have run into a challenge and they don't know what the next step should be or could be. That leader paints a picture so vividly that everyone's like, that's it. That's the next step. That's the answer. I never knew. It's been right in front of my face the whole time, and I never saw it. But that leader has the way of painting the picture, and they will jump on that plane while it's being built because they can see the destination because they painted that picture so vividly. Leading is also a great thing, but leading also has its challenges too, because there's sometimes that ego can be there. It can seem like that leader is always on another planet. Why? Because they're always thinking about the future. They're always pushing the edges of where things can go, should go, changing the world even before it needs to be changed. Some of that caution, though, is overshooting the runway. A lot of times leaders can overpromise and then under deliver. And then that's when a leader that is typically loved by all can quickly turn into a pariah. Managing and leading, mastery of moving large groups, managing the business aspect, guardrails, certain points, certain time, certain budget. It's the business. Leading, how do we get this and change this and really overcome things that we may or may not see? But coaching is the mastery of one-on-ones and small groups. Coaching is truly understanding the individuals on our team, and again, making the space for them knowing what their current abilities are, and then defining the map and plan to help them get better. Let's look at the average kids. The average kids that play sports. Some of them start playing sports at the age of 7. And in AAU, you can play sports at the age of 7. You're getting coached for maybe 5 months out of the year. If you keep playing AAU basketball, AAU is a local basketball team with someone's parents teaching you to run down the court and toss the ball up, okay? You can then, if you're that good, then start to play basketball in middle school. If you play sports in both, in which you can, on season and off season, your kid's getting coached for 9 out of 12 months of the year. They can keep it in high school and do the same thing, getting coached 9 out of 12 months of the year. They can then go to college. At college, there is no more AAU because they are really drilled in on a team of coaches, teaching our kids, men and women both, for the WNBA and the NBA to really be sports athletes. But in college, they're training nearly year long, and it gets them ready for the NBA. In the NBA, let's look at dang LeBron James getting paid $107 million. What, for like a year, maybe 2 years? For 1 year. But the average player is getting paid tens of millions of dollars per year. And yet still, there's a coach on the sideline screaming at him who to cover, when to fall back. And at the break of every single play, bringing everybody over to go through the next play. All these people are getting coached, but at work, where we make our bread and butter. Even our kids are getting coached for 3/4 of the year, but we don't create the space to get to know the individuals on our team, where they're currently at, what they want to get to, and what that plan is. That's the difference between managing, leading, and coaching.
I gotta tell you, JJ Redick's got his work cut out for him with the Lakers this year, and that is correct. LeBron James is getting paid over $100 million for 2 years. That is a ridiculous amount of money. But if anyone's earned it, LeBron James has.
Yes, I can't front. At the age of 39, he could school the average 22-year-old that's in the NBA. That guy is just crazy.
He is a phenom. Jose?
Oh, I think that me and coaching. I think that one piece to add to that is that in that practice, right, in the exercise that the coach gives, right, the practice that brings the master out, there is the empowerment. Just to wrap it all back up, the empowerment of the employee, the empowerment of the individual to find their own access to that power by just the coach giving them the practices. Masterful. Love it. Now, the model is now complete, but
it is still pronounced model.
MODEL. Now it's complete. So what are some practical steps restaurant managers can take to implement these 5 keys and see tangible improvements in their operations?
First thing that everyone listening has to do is call Jason E. Brooks, go to his website, ask him to come in to help them with these steps. No, actually,
beautifully woven in, gorgeous.
I
You can't get it done. You can't get it done unless you call Jason. So
no, but whatever. The first thing that we have to do to really get this implement is to understand what our goals are. Everything, when you go back to the very top, everything going back to the very first key is what's the goal? And of course, we don't just have one goal. We typically have 3 to 5 goals. Let's keep it at 3 to keep things simple. So whenever we have these 3 goals, most of the time, these 3 goals are made annually. At the end of the year, we figure out next year, our goal is to blah, 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 blah. But how many times do those goals make it down to the guest-facing employee? How many times do we create these goals? We feel real good. We give high fives around the king's table inside the ivory tower. We print it on some pretty parchment paper, slap it on the wall. Like, yeah, we're going to do that right there. 10 hours into it, there's 17 fires. And then 10 months later, they're like, man, we didn't come near any of our goals. Why? Because 1, we didn't figure out how do we connect the goal with the human behaviors within our business. And what I mean by that is that if there's 3 goals, let's say it's to build sales, is to improve food safety, and to grow digital sales to 30%. The question is, for every position working in our business, what are 3 things that they can do to help each goal for each position? When you put the human element to that goal and you give them 3 things that they can do that are leading indicators, because the goals truly is the end. It's after everything's said and done, after everyone did their human whatever in the dining room, in the kitchen, with marketing, at the end is then the goal. But if there's nothing telling them what the lead things that they should be doing within their position to help hit that goal, things that they can track, like you said, if you don't measure it, it's not going to happen. So what are the leading indicators by position each position should be doing to help hit those goals, and then make it big, bold, and beautiful? You can put glitter on there and sparkles and all of that good things, but the basic is someone should be able to read it by their position, know what they have to do in order to help that goal, what they did last week or yesterday or last month, and what they're trending towards now. And they should be able to see how they themselves are doing. I know that everyone's like, oh man, that sounds complicated. But let's be honest. Kids have TikTok, they got Instagram, they got all of this stuff. They have stuff that I've never heard of, and they've probably been using for the past 5 years. Whenever they get on social media, the thing that they're doing is that they want to know, do I suck or am I doing well? They don't post just to post. They don't post like, yeah, I just feel like posting something. They want to know, how well am I doing? How many people liked it? Am I doing better than this other person? Am I doing better than my last post? That's the same thing that we should be doing with our goals. But there's times that we create these goals, we don't combine it with the individuals that are guest facing on what they can do within their shift, day, week, in order to hit that goal, how it's measured, and then be able to walk up and look, how am I doing? The first, again, 4 to 6 weeks, half of them are like, I don't care. I only care about such and such. But the more it keeps on being updated, and the more they see that if they suck, soon they'll be walking up to you, the manager or the owner, like, oh, so how did I do last week? Because I know that I really tried to, yada, 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 yada. So that to me is the first practical step. Know your goal. And when you build your goal, build the ways that the people within your business are actually able to make that thing work for their position.
Love it. Well thought. Generational. Like that is you're so right. It's like, how many likes did I get? How many comments do I got? Right? And are they positive, negative? Like what are the others thinking? That is already ingrained in human beings these days. So smart. I love it.
The gamification of the model, right?
Exactly. That's great. I think we're running out of time, Gordon.
That is true. We are running out of time today. Jason, now's your time to plug away. Where can people connect with you? What's your platform of choice?
Platform of choice. Oh, I love LinkedIn. This LinkedIn has grown as such a community. It is getting better. It is also getting more mobile. I'm trying to do more videos myself, but if you want to connect with me, catch me on LinkedIn or go to my website, jasonebrooks.com. If you want to learn about the 5 keys, really about all 10 keys, then you can order the book, Every Leader Needs Followers. It's on Amazon.com. And if you order the book from my website, jasonebrooks.com/every leader, you're able to actually get me to sign your book, send it to you, send it with love. Amazon won't do that. But either way, that's how you can get to learn more about me or the 5 keys or about the book.
Very true. Jason is crushing it on LinkedIn, and the book is an incredibly great read. Highly recommend. Speaking of plugs,
And
sorry,
one second before you go, and we have 5 more to go through.
There's more KPIs, there's more acronyms, and I just want to put this out there. Thanks to Reddit, I found one of my favorite acronyms, acronym, which stands for A Criminal Regiment of Nasty Young Men. Thank you, Reddit. You always come through in the clutch. Speaking of plugs, this podcast is sponsored by Dine Pricing, real-time restaurant profitability. Dine Pricing uses artificial intelligence to improve restaurant profitability by dynamically updating menus across digital channels like Uber Eats, DoorDash, and Grubhub. Again, that's all the time we have for this episode. Thanks again to Jason for joining us. Until next week, say goodbye, Jose.
Goodbye, Jose.
I was hoping for something with a little more passion.
Bang, like the 4th of July.
Can we get a 4th of July goodbye, Jose?
Yeah. Okay, fair enough. Okay.
Did you go or?
I'll take the Frozen Jose too, because the Frozen Jose is timeless. The Frozen Jose is timeless. I love it.
That was so appropriate. I don't know. I've never met anyone with as many technical problems as this guy with this camera. Oh, that's really good. He's going to get a big kick out of that. Jason, thank you again, man. We'll talk to you soon. Enjoy your 4th of July. Thank you so much.
Thanks, sir.
All right.